welcome everybody to the fourth and final session of today's virtual trade mission to Mexico. We've had some really fantastic conversations today. This morning, we had a session on manufacturing and opportunities for Utah companies to partner with companies in Mexico to nearshore and strengthen our North American supply chains. We did a session on aerospace and advanced manufacturing, as well as one on information technology. A lot of Utah companies are having challenges finding the right partners to help them with their software development. There's a lot of opportunity in Mexico as well as other areas to partner. And of course, now we're here to talk about agribusiness and agricultural opportunities. This is a core part of the U.S.-Mexico trade relationship. And of course, here in Utah, we're by and large an agricultural economy. We have such great agricultural companies that are making great products and food and everything else. And so this is a key area of opportunity and something that we want to dive in and focus on. Before we jump into the conversation, I just want to make sure we highlight and thank Courtney Ray and Patricia Cortez, who've done such a phenomenal job pulling these sessions together, as well as Hannah for making the logistics and everything work very well. We're also very grateful for everybody at the Mexican consulate here in Utah, and especially Jose, Consul Porjon. We're so grateful for your partnership and all the great work that you are doing. Building out a trade mission like this is a heavy lift. There's a lot of time and energy that goes into this, and the teams that have been working on this deserve our credit, our appreciation, and also our attention as we work to make sure that we don't just have a nice discussion today, but this discussion leads to action and follow-up among our companies to take advantage of the opportunities that we have through these virtual trade mission series now, and then the continued engagement we're going to have over the next several months as we prepare to welcome a group of companies from Jalisco here to Utah in September. And then, of course, as we prepare to go with Governor Spencer Cox on his first trade mission to Mexico and a large Utah delegation to go and build and strengthen these commercial ties between Utah and Mexico. I'd like to thank a couple of partners and close friends on screen. Franz Kolb. Franz, thank you so much for all that you do. I'd like to go ahead and give you a second to welcome our guest today, and then we'll turn our attention to Commissioner Butters. We're grateful for his participation as well. Franz, over to you.
Thank you very much, Miles. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Franz Kolb. I'm the Director for International Trade Diplomacy and Protocol in the Governor's Office of Economic Development of the state of Utah. That's a mouthful. I am delighted to welcome all of you. I am grateful for my colleague, Callie Forsyth, who is also with us from the Utah Department of Agriculture. And I'm grateful for Jose Porjon and his team, Commissioner. We're very grateful for your participation. And we are so grateful for the World Trade Center team that put this together. And agriculture is important. It will be one of our highlights when we will go on this trade mission. I've had the opportunity to be a few times in Mexico, and Mexico is an important trading partner for the state of Utah, as we will find out here in the next hour. So thank you very much. A warm welcome. And as I always say, Viva Mexico.
Great. Thank you, Franz, very much for that. And Commissioner Butters, it's important for everybody to know, if they don't, that Commissioner Butters runs the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food. Callie is part of his team there and is a great partner to us as we work to create international opportunities for our Utah agriculture and food producers. Previous to assuming this position a few months ago, Commissioner Butters was the Cache County executive. And prior to that, and perhaps most importantly for this conversation, he was a dairy farmer and ran a dairy in northern Utah. And so it's somebody who knows this industry very, very well from top to bottom. And so, Craig, thank you so much for being with us today. And we'd love to hear from you as we kick this thing off.
You're on mute. Commissioner, you're on mute.
There we go.
Got it.
Thank you. And thank you, Miles. And I might point out that Miles has agricultural roots back in his family line that tie into the same rural community where I have my dairy. So I've known the Hanson family there for many years. So thanks again. Of course, the Utah Department of Agriculture and Food, or UDAF, as I'm going to use the term, since it's kind of a mouthful, We're proud to support Utah producers and businesses as they consider expanding their operations into international markets. UDAF's international trade program continues to grow and facilitate the expansion of Utah agricultural and food producers into the global marketplace. Our international trade program is well positioned to be a connective resource for the state's agriculture and food businesses. UDAF maintains an extensive network of partners and contacts to broaden export resources and opportunities for Utah's diverse producers, including the World Trade Center Utah, of course, the Western United States Agricultural Trade Association, or WUSADA, as some people might recognize that, the U.S. Commercial Service, the Salt Lake Region Small Business Development Center, the Small Business Administration, and many others. UDAF continues to work closely with these state and federal partners to provide the growth of Utah producers and food businesses. Over the next 2 years, we look forward to participate in several trade missions, including a food ingredients trade mission with Mexico and Latin America. We're looking forward to further trade missions in the coming years also. Market fluctuations are a part of any business, and participating in the international marketplace by pursuing trade opportunities in Mexico and beyond will diversify our market base and improve resiliency to help weather any fluctuating trends. The resources available through virtual trade missions like this are invaluable to agribusiness at any stage of development. Thank you once again for joining us today. That's all I have.
Miles, you are on mute.
Man, look at this. We keep this mute button. I guess I've got an excuse. It's my fourth session today. But Commissioner Butters, thank you very much for that. You know, it's important to note that my grandparents had a farm in Petersburg up in Cache Valley, so a lot of time out there on the alfalfa farm. And then my great uncle had a dairy farm in Lewiston, Craig, which I think was close to where you were, and spent a lot of time up there on the dairy farm as well. And so agricultural work is part of my heritage and in my DNA. So this is an important topic for me as well. Without further ado, Consul Borjon, thank you so much for pulling this together. We're excited to hear from Cesar in his great perspective on things. But before we do, I go ahead and turn it over to you, and you can take it from here.
Thank you, Miles, and thank you all for being with us throughout the day, or those who are just joining us. As Miles was saying, this has been a real work of partnership and collaboration between the Consulate and World Trade Center in getting these wonderful speakers and also partners in Utah to share us also the view from Utah. So I think it's really being a very nice opportunity. And today we have at this time the opportunity to talk on agriculture. And believe me, are we Mexicans very dynamic here? But are there a lot of opportunities also for Utah agribusiness, dairy, you name it? And that's why we're so happy to have as our speaker Mr. Cesar de Anda. He is from Guadalajara. Remember, it's part of our mission to go to Mexico City and Guadalajara at the end of the year. And he has studied business administration in Guadalajara, but also done a lot of executive education programs in Harvard Business School, MIT Sloan, JASP in Tokyo. And he is the president of Innova Group. This is one of the most important Mexican groups in the food and agriculture business services. Also has an expansion in the real estate industry. And he is very active in different organizations. He was chairman of the World Egg Organization in London, UK, and president of the Mexican National Poultry Association, as well as state and local organizations. He's a member of the board of the Guadalajara World Trade Center, as well as other boards and organizations. And we've been actually working there, thanks to Courtney Ray, in finding partnerships in other subjects, not agriculture, not today, but he's a very dynamic very important in the ecosystem, in the economics of Guadalajara and in the country. He is member of different organizations, as I said, social and politically active, and he's founded international nonprofit organizations in different places, also in Africa. He currently chairs the Council of Innovation, Growth, and Sustainable Development in Jalisco, which is really the private sector of Jalisco organized, putting the view of where should the government go. So he's behind really most of the initiatives for the future of the development of Jalisco. But with his experience in agriculture, we would have the privilege of hearing him show us where we stand as a country and try to identify opportunities. César, bienvenido. Muchas gracias por tu tiempo.
Muchísimas gracias, señor cónsul. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you to all of you for being here. It is my privilege to be with you this afternoon and to share with all of you some ideas of what we can do together. I really would like to name all my friends from Utah, but I think it's better to share with you a little bit more comments about the opportunities in the future. Then thank you very much for inviting me. And well, I think that Mexico has many opportunities. Obviously, we are facing a lot of different crises, not only the health and sanitary crisis that the whole world is living now, but also many other obstacles and difficult things to be solved in the near future. But I think that one of the sectors that has been more progressive and more positive facing the obstacles and the opportunities, it's the agribusiness sector. And I'm very, very proud to be part of it. Jalisco is really a powerhouse of Mexico in this sector. And one of the very, very important factors that makes Jalisco really something important in our country, and also comparing our state with other countries in Latin America, is the merge with the agri sector and the food industry that we have in our state. In Jalisco, if we put together the agribusiness sector itself and the food industry, we can count with more than 22% of the GDP, the internal GDP in the state of Jalisco. Then the food industry as a whole, it's the most important engines to move this state in Mexico. Jalisco, and maybe we will see the numbers in the next slide, Jalisco is one of the most important states in Mexico. Obviously, you know that Mexico City, with more than 20 million inhabitants in the metropolitan area, obviously is like a country. Mexico City itself, with the suburbs and the states around the city, is really a very, very important consumption center. But the second largest in the country is Guadalajara. Guadalajara is our capital, the state capital of Jalisco, with more than 5.5 million inhabitants, and we have currently almost 9 million people living in the state of Jalisco. But most of those industries located in our state are completely related to the food industry. later on in the slides, we will see the different regions of the state of Jalisco. But maybe in the next slide, we'll see some good figures to show you. Maybe the next one, it's a little bit more illustrative. Here, for instance, we can see that our main markets obviously is North America. The United States is the main market for our products. But maybe in the next slide, we'll see a little bit more information about that. Jalisco compared with other states in Mexico is by far #1 in agribusiness production. In the next slide, we'll see how it's located. Okay, this is the state of Jalisco. In the northern region, in the northeast region, is where most of the livestock is being produced. We are #1 in egg production. We are #1 in Mexico in dairy production. We are #1 in the pork industry. We are very important in the corn industry. We are growing and growing in avocados. Michoacán is #1, but also the state of Jalisco is almost reaching the first place. We are #1 in berries, and we are #1 in mangoes. Then there are many other products in the livestock sector and in the agriculture sector that are growing every year. Because of that, in the council that I am leading, COINCIDES is the acronym of the council, that its main business or the core business is to work together with the state government in order to create new opportunities to grow. We proposed to create our own SENACICA. SENACICA is an institution, a national institution that it's part of the federal government, and its core business is like FDA or FSIS or APHIS or all these institutions that are under the umbrella of USDA. Well, in Mexico, we have the same, more or less the same, but in this case, Jalisco proposed to have its own agency in order to help the producers as a high yield competitors in the Olympics. We consider that our companies producing eggs, milk, pork, mangoes, any kind of berries, and all this stuff should be helped from the state government to export as much as possible, and also to produce with the better quality, with the best quality, to the domestic market. And that's why we created our own state agency that it's mainly in the procure of the best health and sanitary matters in order to work together, the private sector and the public sector, and offer the best products to the markets. Jalisco, it's also very, very important because of the tequila industry. And as you know, the tequila industry is coming because of the production or the process of the agave cactus. The agave is being produced mainly in the highlands of Jalisco, that it's also where the livestock sector is very, very strong in the northeast part of the country, of the state, and also in the region of Tequila, that it's in the center of the state. the agave production that maybe we'll see it in the next slide. It's very, very important, and it counts with a lot of metric tons produced every year. I also would like to give you some figures in order to give you an idea on how the agave industry and obviously the tequila industry are helping the state to be one of the strongest in the country. The price of the agave, something like 4 years ago, was in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 pesos per kilo. That means $0.25 per kilo, maybe 12.5 cents per pound of the agave. Today, it's almost 30 pesos per kilo. 30 pesos per kilo, it's something like $150 per kilo, or 75 cents per pound. Going from 12.5 cents per pound to 75 cents per pound represents a lot of wealth going into the agribusiness sector. And why is been happening this huge increase in the price of the agave? It's mainly because of the demand of the tequila beverage in the United States. In the United States, the tequila is now more and more and more popular, and you know better than me. The tequila consumption in the US is now even higher than the consumption of tequila in Mexico itself. Then I want to emphasize this because the agave production, it's completely related to the rest of the products of the agribusiness sector. A farmer that owns agave fields also is producing milk, or it's producing eggs or pigs as well. It's completely related because the same fields are being used for agave, and maybe in a corner of the farm, they have their own barns to produce eggs or to produce pigs. Then we have the whole enchilada here, and we are trying to enforce and to help the producers in order to be even stronger in the future, to make the agribusiness sector an engine to move our state. Then we are very interested to export our products to Utah and many other states in the US. We are actually exporting a lot of berries. We export some other stuff, mainly beef, not eggs. We are not exporting eggs due to sanitary issues and a long battle with USDA in order to receive their approval to export eggs and egg products to the United States. The same story with the chicken. We have been dealing with USDA for years and years to export chicken from Mexico to the United States, and still we are with some homework to be done. But we have many other opportunities. For instance, beer. In the state of Jalisco, we have a lot of history about beer. We have also new microbreweries that are growing, like in California, for instance. And we have a local brand in the state of Jalisco called Minerva. Minerva beer is now more and more popular. Not only Modelo or not only Corona or not only Tecate are famous, but the new microbreweries are offering a lot of new products to the domestic market, but also they are starting to export these products to the United States. Then it will be really, really good to dream out of the box. We have been talking with the Consulate of Mexico and World Trade Center in the last few weeks. And I think we have a lot of opportunities, not only in the agribusiness sector, but also in many other areas of our economical world. But in the agribusiness field, my view is we need to dream about joint ventures to try to put together companies from the United States and from Mexico in order to market their products in both ways. You have a lot of production. You have a lot of agriculture production also in the area of Utah. And we are very interested to import products from Utah to market those products in Mexico. But obviously, we are also very, very interested to export products from Mexico to the United States. But at the end, the message that I would like to give you this afternoon is we are part of North America. Canada, US, and Mexico are North America. We should be competing as North American region with the other very important regions of the world. As North America, we should be competing with Europe, we should be competing with Asia, and we should be supplying the needs of China. We could be a complement of the companies in the United States. We know about the labor issue. We do not want to have the cheapest labor in the world. No, that shouldn't be our goal in Mexico. But now it comes to reality that our labor is cheaper than in the United States. Then, if we organize supply chains to produce something in Utah and to put value added in Mexico, where labor is a little bit cheaper, and then export those products to the rest of the world as North American product, that could be a win-win situation for all the stakeholders. Then we should be thinking about those possibilities. We think that dairy, beverages, livestock, fresh products, obviously avocados, and many others could be interesting offerings to Asia, Europe, and many other parts of the world. Then, in order to give you more time for questions and more comments, I will finalize my message here. We want to be your partners. Jalisco has the opportunity to make a lot of things in the agribusiness sector. Utah, it's an important state in the Pacific region of the US. Let's put together a group of thinkers, blue sky thinkers, and try to dream in different ideas. Try to organize something that is still in the blueprints of many companies, but not yet it's been done. Let's try to make it happen. We are ready to work with you. And this could be an opportunity just to kick off new businesses and new ideas, new opportunities for both states. I really would like to thank you, the opportunity to share with you some ideas, some dreams. I'm ready to hear some questions. And later on, after this conference, maybe to create a special agenda to work together to make at least 2 or 3 projects happen. Then thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Cesar. You already have my mind reeling on, I've already started texting a few people and thinking about projects that we can work on with you. So we're really excited about potentially partnering with you on things. You're always a great thinker, and I really appreciate your time. So I'd love to just ask you some questions I know would be helpful for a lot of the audience that's on here now. We have a lot of alfalfa producers here, and we have some that are on the line as well. Can you talk to us about what sort of demand there is in Mexico for alfalfa, and then what sort of hay products are in demand, if any, cubes, bales, etc.? And then I have a follow-up question to that.
It's a great idea, and I think we have a lot of opportunity with alfalfa because the dairy industry, as you know, we are number 1 in milk production, and we are always needing alfalfa. The challenge here is how to be efficient with the freight cost, because we are we could be only paying to transport water. No, then we need to try to use the new techniques in order to make the alfalfa a little bit more compact, or to dry it, or to dream how to transport the alfalfa in a better way. But we have a huge market of alfalfa. Obviously, we know that the prices are based on the international market, as it is done with corn or soybeans or canola meal or the other feedstuffs that we are buying from the United States. But yes, we will be very, very interested to start buying alfalfa from you, and we are ready to receive prices and some proposals, and we will be very, very happy to share those prices and those quotations with the milk producers.
Great. Where would we do this? I don't want to bother you with your time in particular. Is there someone that you would want us to send this to, or should we go through the Mexican consulate? What's your best way for us to approach you on that?
In Coincides, we have an office that could be helping with that. If you send us email or a website where we could be checking every week the prices, then we will contact in a very easy way the milk producers. Then it won't be a problem.
Okay, great. Thank you so much. Along those lines as well, I've noticed as I've been sort of reading up for this that it seems like there's just a lot of demand for more efficiencies in agriculture and a lot of demand for equipment. We actually have someone on the phone right now that is, it's called Staheli West, and they're one of our Utah companies that does steaming forage crops. So they're basically steaming the alfalfa to be cubes. Do you have, is there enough of an alfalfa? It's just related to what we were just talking about. I'd love you to sort of talk about some of the equipments that are important for farming right now, and then hay in particular. What sort of equipment do you think is most in demand?
Well, any kind of new technology equipment, I think you know better than me the kind of machinery and the equipment that especially in the agriculture is needed. But any new technologies, GPS, in artificial intelligence, robots, any kind of this new techniques will be very, very interesting for us. Then if we could set up a system to receive your offerings, we will be very glad to show them to the producers and to the potential customers. Then the agribusiness sector in Mexico, and especially in Jalisco, has been investing a lot of money in new machinery and new equipment, especially in livestock. For instance, in the egg business, if you visit farms producing eggs in the state of Jalisco, you could see farms that were built maybe 40 years ago and still producing, and you could be visiting farms that were built last year, like being in any place in the United States, any place of Germany, any place of Japan, is the same thing, the same state-of-the-art equipment. Then the same thing with the greenhouses, producing berries, strawberries, for instance. We have beautiful greenhouses producing strawberries, organic strawberries, to export to the United States. Then any kind of equipment, Courtney, we will be very interested to take a look on it.
Well, there are so many things that just came to mind when you were talking about that. We actually, one of our Utah companies called Autonomous Solutions, they basically have a robot or autonomous solution. They come in and retrofit farming equipment, lots of different types of equipments, but one of their silos is farming, where all this can be done automatically without a human involved, which would obviously massively change the landscape of farming in Mexico, not to mention other places as well. So we'll certainly send them your way as well. And another thing you had just mentioned is if for livestock, and it was another one of my questions, and for the Utah companies online, I would encourage you to go to the U.S. Commercial Services. They have a commercial country guide that they produce for each country where they are. And there's a whole section on equipment. So there were a lot of things in there that I wasn't sure if they applied to Utah companies. I did speak with the Farm Bureau as well. And so we kind of went through the ones we thought were most relevant for Utah companies, but there could be a lot of Utah companies where we missed. So you should really look at that and see if there are any things that apply to you in terms of the demand in Mexico. And of course, it sounds like Cesar and his team are willing to field these questions where we can give them sort of an offering of things that we do, and that they can send you to the right place. But they are anxious to upgrade equipment, and I read some statistics saying that the majority of the farming was still done by hand, and so I think there's so much potential for both Mexico and for Utah companies to work together in partnership to make these systems more efficient. So sorry, back to the livestock question. So one of the issues that was mentioned by the U.S. Commercial Services was the equipment for raising livestock. And for example, two of the companies we have here, one that came up was Powder River that makes kennels and gates and chutes, and then a company called Tartar that makes the same. Those sorts of things, it sounds like maybe of interest to you as well, that we should also present. Yes?
For sure, for sure.
And the best way really then again is to go through your office, where you then present to the local farmers that can decide whether or not this is something that would be of interest for them.
Excellent. We would like to be really a kind of an interface to connect your people with our people. That will be a great opportunity for us.
Wonderful. I wanted to talk about fertilizer. I know that this has come up a lot in some other areas that I'm involved with the World Trade Center. And I know that when I spoke with Callie at the Department of Agriculture, I know that they've mentioned this a lot. But can you help us understand the need for mineral supplements for cattle and organic fertilizer in Mexico? And along that line, what is the best way to make connections with distributors, and in particular, organic growers and cattle, poultry, and ranchers in Mexico?
Yes, for sure. Obviously, fertilizers is a very, very important issue in Mexico. Actually, we are in a big discussion internally talking about glyphosato, this chemical product that it's prohibited in many countries. But well, we also have, under the umbrella of our council in Coincides, a group of companies that are being related with those fertilizers and on those chemical products. Obviously, our idea is to buy products that are obviously in compliance with all the international rules and legislations. No, Mexico is now exporting to all over the world. We are exporting products to many different countries, and you know better than me, than Japan, than Europe, are really strong with their regulations in order to avoid heavy metals, toxic residues, antibiotics in the livestock business, and many others. Then the fertilizers and all these chemical supplements or chemical products that are being used to improve the yields of the crops and many other things in our sector are needed, but we really need to follow the compliance rules. No, then the same thing. Coincides could be the office to offer those products to the distributors and the end users of those chemical products.
Great. And just along those lines, as I read a lot about this, it looks like there are a lot of protocols and certifications that can take quite a long time along the fertilizer front. And just we have so many sort of organic fertilizer companies here. Can you sort of comment on this process? It sounds like it can take over a year, and there are lots of trials. And then how they get to the small farmers. Is that the same process as going through you? Because they said it's a very different process with some of the smaller farmers. So would love your comments on that as well.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. We are obviously running the same number of miles in order to get a certification. But that was one of the reasons why we proposed to the state of Jalisco to have our own agency, this quality control agency. The Senacica is the name of the federal agency, but ASICA is the name of the state in Jalisco agency. Then they could be helping us in order to improve the number of months or weeks to get those certificates. Then the same offering to you, if you have Utah companies that are facing some issues with authorizations to export their products to Mexico, obviously that should be a permit, or that should be an authorization coming from the federal government. But this ASICA has very good relationship with Senacica, that it's the agency in the federal government. Then we could be helping you to make it a little bit easier, or to improve the number of months to get the permits approved. Then the same thing, I will put a person to receive those inquiries in order to help a little bit. And I also could be asking the state government to help us out with this.
That's great. That's very helpful. Thank you. I'm sure they'd be relieved to hear that. Okay. We also have in Utah, Callie helped me to understand that in Utah, sometimes more than just an agricultural commodity place. We are a value-added food producer. So we often do retail products like sauces, jams, sweets. Are those something that would be of interest to Mexico in terms of our exporting to you all? Is there a demand for that there as well?
We could take a look of the products. Obviously, we are always thinking in both ways. No, obviously, we will be very interested to buy those value-added products from Utah to market in Mexico and Latin America. Remember, if you make trials in Mexico, that will be a kind of the pre-season to sell those products also in the rest of Latin America. Then yes, if we can receive a list of different products, value-added products produced in Utah, we can give you an idea on what could be market here or what kind of changes should be done. Then we will be very happy to help with that.
Thank you. We appreciate that. We are also in Utah right now, where we are on sort of a food ingredient mission. What types of products are Mexicans generally interested in? Like, is there a gluten-free or health food bars, or is there sort of a trend in the food market right now in Mexico?
It's the same thing as the United States. You know, social media, TV, all those trends are being published or being promoted through internet and all the tools that the modern world is having. Then we are having the same trend. Obviously, gluten-free is popular, sugar-free for diabetes problems. We are also very bullish in diets like keto or many other types of diet systems. You know, we share the same problems as the US, talking about obesity. Then everything that it's trying to prevent obesity, it's important. Also, the same thing. We are producing a lot of new things here in Mexico and the state of Jalisco that could be marketed in the United States in this kind of agreements, joint agreements between the two worlds, between Utah and Jalisco. For instance, inulin, that it's a product coming out of the agave. It's very, very good as probiotic for the digestive system. Then we are offering a lot of inulin to Japan, Europe, the United States. Then if those food companies, especially nutraceutical companies located in Utah, are interested, we could be supplying with inulin or, for instance, lysozyme. Lysozyme is an enzyme coming out of the egg whites, and this enzyme is a kind of a natural bacterize, a natural product that it's fighting against the bacteria or the virus. Then we are only two companies in the whole American continent producing lysozyme. Only one in the United States, in Minneapolis, and one company here in the state of Jalisco. And that product, the lysozyme, is being exported to different parts of the world. Then nutraceutical trend, it's very important, and a lot of companies from Jalisco are being investing a lot of money in that field as well. Then we are interested to buy from you, but we are also very interested to sell to your companies.
So Cesar, we have, I'm sure you know this, but we have a large amount of nutraceutical companies here that are very established globally. And so as we work together in following up with this, we'd also love a list from you of how we can be helpful, and certainly bring in Callie, and then from the Department of Agriculture and the Farm Bureau, and any ways that we can be helpful on our side to go both ways. And we will look forward to a partnership doing that as well. So I see some dairy questions coming up. I know that from what I've read, Mexico buys about 25% of its dairy from the US. How much of that does Utah capture? I'm not sure if you're aware, and it seems like this might be an opportunity that we could take advantage of. And along those lines, Jenny Nelson, who I know does a lot in the dairy business, she said, knowing that supply cannot keep up with the demand domestically in the dairy section in Mexico, what opportunities exist beyond our region exporting cheese and dairy ingredients? Are there co-packing partnerships? So a lot to throw at you there.
If I may give you my opinion about that, I think we are buying a lot of product from overseas, talking about cheese, for instance, or many other dairy products. My concern is that a lot of cheap product is coming into our country, a lot of very cheap product with low quality. And we do not want any more that kind of product. I think we have the responsibility to feed our people in a better way. Unfortunately, well, and it's a reality, Mexico has not the same purchasing power as the United States in general. And that's why a lot of very cheap product from the Netherlands, a lot of very cheap product from the States is coming into the shelves of the dairy sector. But I am seeing opportunities also in a different level of quality. Then I know that Utah has beautiful scenarios. You have wonderful companies that could be offering us better products. Then let's analyze that possibility, not only price, but real product. For instance, butter. We really need real butter, not margarine, real butter.
Yes.
if you can produce and sell real butter, that will be a good market here in Mexico for that. Then those are samples, just small samples, that something that could be done here, better quality.
Great. Well, I'm sure Jenny Nelson has some suggestions, but I know some of the dairy farmers that we've worked with just through our global business services. I can definitely send you their information, and they have delicious cheeses, and I don't know if they have butter, but we have some great suggestions. Russell from Stahili West had asked, how can we help Mexican dairies recognize the importance of high quality hay? And are there federal or state programs to help basically the Mexican farmers subsidize the purchase of new equipment for hay production? They have these gorgeous big machines that I've seen, but I'm sure they're somewhat costly, but worth it if you're investing in alfalfa and great high quality hay. So are there subsidies that help Mexican companies to purchase those?
Yes, there are several federal government programs that are helping the producers to buy new equipment. Obviously, the grants or the support that the federal government is giving away to the producers is limited. Then the states are also helping to, if not subsidize, just to support the producers to make the acquisition of the equipment a little bit easier. Then yes, we also can connect those companies to the state government. In the agriculture department of the state of Jalisco, they have a special office that is managing those grants and supports or subsidies given to the producers. And it will be really, really good to know the kind of equipment that could be accepted to be part of that program. No? Then the good thing here, the good news are that the federal government and the state of Jalisco are working together in those programs in order to support in a better way to the producer. Then I think that in agribusiness, Mexico is doing a great job, federal government and the states. Obviously, I think the best one is the state of Jalisco. But I think we are working in a very good way because the agribusiness sector is really doing well. Then we are always pushing the producers to buy new equipment in order to be more competitive.
I love that. Thank you. We'll have one more question before we wrap up, but I do want to remind everyone here that the state of Jalisco will be doing a reverse trade mission coming hopefully the beginning of September to the state of Utah. And it could be a really good chance if especially, we always have thoughts on companies we think might be of interest to them, but if you have an interest in being involved or speaking, of course, always, we'll guide our program based on what their needs are. But if you'd like to be involved and tell them about what you're doing as well, of course, always reach out to us because we are really looking for a partnership with them. So one more question we were asked about, can you please tell us your take on agro parks in Mexico?
That's very, very good point. The areas of production in Mexico, especially in the state of Jalisco, have been growing organically, maybe without a master plan. But especially in the last few years, we have had several proposals, especially coming from the state government, to build agroparks. Then there are a few concepts of those kind of agroparks, and frankly speaking, we do not have yet perfection the concept of agropark. We are trying to develop ideas, and we are trying to develop areas of production with everything needed to produce fruits, vegetables, or value-added products out of livestock. But we are still in that trend. We need to make it better. Then if you can help on it, we are always open to receive your support, your know-how, your techniques, your expertise about that issue.
Great, wonderful. Cesar, it was such an honor to have you here, and we're so grateful for your time and your expertise and your partnership. We will all look forward to working with you. Anyone who has any questions, we haven't gotten to everyone's questions. I promise we will get back to you. Please send, if you have any interest, send something to me. My email is crae, C-R-A-E, @wtcutah.com. If you forget, just look on our website. And then I will forward all questions to our Mexican consulate friends or to Cesar, depending on where they're meant to go. And we are grateful for all of our partners and for Jose and Patricia and for Cesar for all their work and also for the Department of Agriculture and for the Farm Bureau for helping us with these great insights and how we can be helpful to you all. Miles, go ahead.
Thank you, Courtney. Nothing to add other than Cesar and Courtney. That was absolutely phenomenal. Thank you very much. I loved how action focused it was, and really appreciate Russell, Jenny, Callie, everybody that participated with questions. This is a fantastic conversation. And again, if this only becomes a conversation, then we're not doing our job. But now we have an opportunity to take the good conversations happen today and use that to start making some connections and following up and building the groundwork to a very successful in-person trip from our Jalisco companies here to Utah in September, and then of course our Utah trip to Mexico in October. So thank you, Cesar. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for everybody for participating, and we look forward to working together to go out and build and strengthen these important agricultural and food ties between Utah and Mexico. Have a great afternoon, everybody.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Yeah.